Hey y'all, we're just Mingo and Karen, and we're happy to have you here. Today we're going to talk about how we handle conflict. Now keep in mind, doing that has been an evolution because it wasn't always easy.
Handling conflict grows with maturity. How you handle a conflict at 19 is not the same way you're going to handle conflict at 51. So our best advice to you is take the 51 route over the 19.
Because we 51 now.
Because what happens is when you're younger, you got more energy. You say hateful things.
Sure do.
You can do hateful things. You can get it's just not a good situation.
And like for me, I was petty.
Yeah, and pettiness, I can be petty too. I mean, anybody who says they're not, I don't know. You might be petty. I don't know. But anyway, the whole point of it is take a mature route. I know when you're young, you haven't necessarily understand that you're sharing this life with somebody.
Yes.
And don't take for granted that after every conversation, there's going to be a makeup phase.
Absolutely, because it's not. And then when you got to think about what the root of the conflict is. And so when we, look back on it, there were a lot of things that we did that were just silly. So we bickered a lot when we were younger. And so the way we handled that conflict was we would just go back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. And then we would just both be in the wrong and wouldn't get anything resolved. And it would roll over into other things. And you're bringing up old stuff. I mean, at some point, you have to say to yourself that this is not necessary.
And most conflicts come from a lack of communication. You're missing one another. Or they come from you not being able to convince that person to see your point of view. You're two separate people.
Yep.
You have two separate backgrounds. You came to this earth separately. You will leave this earth separately. You have to be able to look at a conflict the same way. Why does the conflict even exist? So if you get to the root of why the conflict exists, it could be money. It could be the kids. It could be work. It could be just something that just got you routed. It could be your favorite team loss. It can be anything. It doesn't matter what it is. It's matter that how you get through it.
So the best way to handle conflict is to, first of all, figure out what the root of it is. And then you got to calm down and think. Think before you speak. I know everybody, a lot of people grew up hearing that, but it is very essential to resolving a conflict. Because really, a conflict is only as big as you make it.
And what you find out in most conflicts, me and Karen learned this later on in life. You're in the heat of the battle, and you say, "Hey, let me ask you something," and she be like, "What?" Attitude on thick,
And
say, "What did we originally start talking about? What were we conflicting about?" And she be like, "Well, I don't know," because what you have done, you've snowballed that thing. It could have been something simple as, "Mingo, stop letting the water drip." And by the end, talking about when I was 19, this what happened. That's what you got to do. You got to be able to be mature enough and say, "Hey," and I'll tell you this: if she's on her side, getting the information off her chest, don't ask her to stop then. You stop on your turn. When your turn comes to speak, that's when you say, "Hey, can I ask you a question?" Don't cut her off and ask her, because that ain't going to do nothing but make it worse.
Yep,
And
we used to do that.
And she's going to be like, "I don't care what we talking about in the beginning. We talking about this now."
Absolutely. So slow down. Figure out what your point is. Communicate your point. And realize that you don't always have to agree on everything. And think about how important that is and how much time you'll be wasting on whatever it is that you have the conflict about. The objective is to find a common ground and to move on from it, period. That's the only way that you'll be able to be in a long-term relationship, because you're going to both grow. Things are going to change. You're going to have children. You're going to have, career changes, everything. And you have enough going on outside of your relationship than to keep conflict going on within. Happy relationship building.